So next, let's find the area under the normal curve from z equals negative 1.5 to z equals 1.25. Well, for this, you can either think about that in terms of the table where you want to do a little bit of counteracting in there, because remember, the table is only for total accumulations, not between, not above. And we'll see how to do above in the next section. But for this, again, our first place to go, in my opinion, is thinking in terms of a picture. So we know what we're trying to do. We know what we're trying to describe in terms of an area. And then from there, what we're going to want to do is put it into the calculator, which means running something like the normal CDF computation, this time with a lower boundary of negative 1.5, an upper of 1.25, and then standard mu 0 sigma is 1 to get that our area, or technically speaking, our probability, is about 83%. That is, there's about an 83% chance of getting a z-score between negative 1.5 and positive 1.25. Where with this stuff, it's very rare that we're going to have questions that directly use the empirical rule, but it's probably a good thing to have in the back of your mind to understand that, yeah, that makes a fair amount of sense, because we said that between 1 and negative 1 should be about 68%, and between negative 2 and 2 should be about 95%, so if we take a little bit off the bottom and a little bit more off the top, we should get something between 68 and 95, a little bit maybe a little closer to 95 based on the shape of the distribution generally, but it should make sense at the very least. So when it comes to the empirical rule, that's a good thing to just sort of recollect so that when you get your numbers, you can look at them and say, hey, that's not unreasonable. It might not be perfect because there's always room for error when you're entering this stuff, but it should make sense. Anyway, that's all we're going to see for this section here. Next, we're going to move on to section 5.2, where we're going to start talking about specific normal distributions in the context of this sort of area computation.